Action Report. Welcome to After Action Report, where I interview someone who's tried something new in bed and lived to tell the tale. This week we have Argo, a trans man who went to his first furry party. Hey, Argo, welcome to After Action Report.
Hello.
So what did you do?
So I just not too long ago went to my first furry sex party. So originally I was thinking, it's going to be like a sex positive sort of space. I was like kind of thinking, there's going to be like a neutral zone. I had all these expectations, and then it would just kind of subverted what I was thinking it was going to be, which was both kind of scary and really exciting and kind of fun.
So it wasn't what you expected it would be?
No.
Why did you want to do it? Before we get to what happened and how it went, why did you want to do it? What turned you on about going to a furry sex party?
So I'd been involved with some stuff on a message thread, and then they said, hey, I'm throwing this thing. And I was just like, oh man, like it would be really cool to meet some of these folks that I've been flirting with online in person.
And had you had group sex before? Had you been to sex parties before? Or was just even a sex party a new experience?
I'd been to something like it where it was a more sex positive environment, but it wasn't necessarily an expectation. It was more centered on kink and watching different scenes, not necessarily like sometimes sex, but not necessarily.
I'm sure there are people out there wondering if it's a furry sex party, if there are people there in fur suits, how do they have sex?
There's zippers and openings in the suit that allow for things to happen with the costumes on.
So basically the same technology that allows people wearing jeans to have sex.
Yeah.
All right. How did it go? Your first furry sex party where there were zippers on people's fursuits that allowed them to have sex, that made sex possible. How did it go? Did you enjoy it? Was it a good time? Was it a bad time? How did it go?
So I only have what's called a partial. So I have like paws, ears, tail. I don't have the full suit yet. And I was mostly interacting with folks that either didn't have a suit at all or didn't have like a full suit because I felt more comfortable. I'm just like, I'm like, what if they get overheated? Like, I don't really know how to communicate necessarily with somebody, especially if they're like their voice is muffled. I was like, maybe not that this time. So I was like, let's just kind of get involved with other folks that are dressed similarly.
Is it a consideration that if somebody is in a complete fursuit, in their fursona with the headpiece that completely covers their head, are you having sex with the exterior, or is part of you hoping that you're attracted to the person inside that suit too, and there's no way to determine that unless you've seen them outside the suit or if they're in a partial?
For me, it's just kind of like, wow, they're really good, or they're really good at art if they made it, or it's like there's an interest in like the suit that they're wearing. It's almost like any other kind of clothing. It just takes it to the next level of like you're interested in the character or you're interested in what's being presented. But there's conversation beforehand. So it's a matter of like, you can still see if you vibe with that person because you're getting to know the person inside the suit a little too.
So you're being sexual at this sex party with people who were in partials like you were, ears, tails, accent pieces, but not a full fursuit. Did you have good sexual experiences? Was it a good time? Were you glad you there?
Yeah, I had a really good time. It was nerve-wracking at first because I figured there'd be a neutral zone like there was. I was just kind of going on past experiences, which were minimal, and there was no neutral zone. So you just kind of like step into the apartment and then everything's everywhere. And it's just like, okay, need a moment to adjust. And then everything was fine.
It gives a new meaning to that old expression, the fur was flying. There was no neutral zone. It was just everybody going at it in their fursuits and their partials.
Well, kind of. The living area was as close to a neutral zone as you get. I just wasn't really expecting some of the things. Like I just like entered into the area. Somebody was like completely unclothed, just kind of looking for something in the spot where everybody left their stuff. And I was just like, oh, whoa. I wasn't expecting to see everything all at once. And it was just, it took me a second to adjust expectations and move forward.
Okay, so when you say you had sex with people, what kind of sex did you have with people? What kind of sex is possible for a trans man at a furry sex party?
So I am a bottom, and I have some pretty strict rules about what I will and won't do just because of like my own body and how things work. So for me, it was all like looking for either other trans folks, because I'm mostly into men, but I can be flexible. So I was mostly just looking for people that have a penis or people that are like more masculine identified, because it's just like, well, this is going to be what's compatible for me.
And so intercourse, outer course?
Mostly inner.
Purely minded people like me and my listeners are going to want to know. They're going to want to picture.
For sure. Intercourse for the most part, but there's a little bit of leading up to that.
Would you do it again? Would you go to another party like this?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Anything you would want to do differently or hope could be done differently, or a way somebody who's hosting a party like this could improve the party experience for attendees?
I definitely fell victim to what you've called dickful thinking. I didn't use protection as openly as I should have. So then I went through like I quarantined myself. I kind of went through a period after the fact where I was like, okay, that was kind of foolish. Let's, plan for the next one if there is going to be a next one, and how I would do things differently. So I would have just more open conversations about use of barriers and have more options available in the bag. So I ran into one person who has a latex allergy, and all I had was latex.
And you wanted to be intimate, and dickful thinking got the better of you, and you were intimate even without a barrier. You made the exception.
So I'm just like, it'll probably be fine. And then later I was like, what was I thinking? And I wasn't thinking things thoroughly through.
Any individual, discrete, single incident, you will probably be fine. Odds are you will probably be fine, but you just never know when you're going to draw the short straw. As a trans man who's sexually active with other men, you might want to get on PrEP. You could also get a doxy-pep prescription, which would be for after those moments where maybe you get carried away, dickful thinking, and do something that you wouldn't have done otherwise if you weren't subject, as we all are, all us men, to dickful thinking at times. Do you have a doxy-pep prescription? Do you have a doctor who would write that prescription for you?
I'm in between jobs, which means I'm in between healthcare coverage.
Oh, I hate this country. I hate this country so much. That whether people have healthcare coverage and can see a doctor or get a medicine that they need is entirely dependent on whether they're employed at any given time. I think that's terrible. Maybe there's a clinic near you where you could see a doctor and get a doxy-pep prescription.
I could definitely look through options through Planned Parenthood. They've been really good to me so far.
Any tips for people who might want to try what you did, including, I think, the tip that would be most useful for people who are interested in going to a furry sex party is, how the hell do you find a furry sex party?
Text threads, group chats. There's a number of different apps that have been used. This one was through Telegram, because it's pretty secure. I haven't had any problems with information getting into places it shouldn't.
Okay, great. Argo, 34-year-old trans man, furry at a furry sex party, and it went well. A little post-nut clarity regrets after the fact about choices you made in the moment, choices you might make differently next time, protection you might want to have on you next time, including a non-latex barrier, a polyurethane condom in your pocket too. And I hope that you find a job soon and can see a doctor and get the medicine, the doxy-pep that you should have at home, just in the medicine cabinet. So there was a moment in your life where you realized you're trans. There was a moment in your life where you realized you were a furry. Did they come at the same time? Were they years apart? Were they related?
They were completely separate. I've been a part of the furry community since like 16, 17. I've really identified with it since then. And then I got...
I heard you meaning like 1617, the year in the 17th century, 1617.
Oh, my age.
So for a minute I thought, oh my God, I'm talking to a trans furry vampire who's been alive for 400 years. The furry Lestat. No, you mean like since you were a teenager, 16 or 17 years old, you've known you were a furry, but you came to a realization that you were trans later?
About 24. Everything sort of clicked.
Well, I'm really glad for you. I'm glad you are who you are. And you're doing the things that you enjoy doing and meeting like-minded people that you can do those things with. And I really thank you for coming on After Action Report and sharing the story of your first furry sex party with us. Thank you so much, Argo. It was great talking with you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thanks again, Argo. If you would like to be on After Action Report, if you just tried something and want to talk about it, send us a description of what you tried and how it went to q@savage.love with the subject line After Action Report. Hey, and we are looking for both positive and negative experiences, so even if your exploration was a total disaster, we want to hear about it.
After Action Report.